Hey, hello, welcome back. So, today we're gonna talk a little bit about configuration handling. What is this about? Let me show you how important it is and how useful will be this for you in the future. Okay, so what's about configuration handling and why this is so important? Like when you start working with Flask, you're gonna see a lot about this because basically when you start your project, you need to set up some configurations. Most probably the most important one that they show you like it's setting the Flask app name. But what's about? Like we just talked in the videos before. If you didn't see these videos, please have a link in the description. But it's about the environment itself. When you set up some configurations, then if that configuration, you can change the behavior and what you have in your app. And I will show you a little bit just superficial what this is about, but it's very important to understand this concept and why you should handle this. Like just a heads up, you can do this directly in your code, in your file that usually is called app.py, or you can have another file that you handle and you have the different setups for your environment. Let me show you. Okay, so let's get this started. I have here just a small setup for the project, like usually when you start a Flask project. I will not dig into, but here how you can show you what it's about. So when you have a project, usually when you go to the internet, you're gonna see something like this, app.config, and then you're gonna see this is a dictionary and any configuration like environment and any value here. Like if you see here, basically the app config itself, it is a dictionary, and this is what it's about. Like when you instantiate the Flask instance itself, you're gonna see that the Flask will load some configurations. They have many configurations, and they use like some specific keys to those configurations. And this is what it's about, like because you can see here that you have like app.config, and but there is different ways that you can do this. Like here, if you see, imagine that not even imagine, like this will help happen with you. You have like a development environment, a staging environment, a testing environment, and you have like production environment that one is the most important. If I have to come here like every time that I need to do deploy and change this like for to production, it's not visible. Like it's not possible to do this way. Like of course it's possible, but it's not good. And there's no way to run away from this because you're gonna need to understand this. You're gonna need to set up this. So, and the Flask itself, they have like a very good documentation. They show how to do this. You can use like another file to have this in place, and it actually it's a very good way of doing. Here, for instance, I have already like a file set up here, uh, and for this file I have different configurations. And like you see here, we inherit everything from the config. So I have the basic one is the config file. We have some keys here because this will be translated as a key, the same way that we have here like environment. So this will be set up in this format. And you have like the production config, development config, and test configuration. So and this is another file. This is very good. So I have just a code snippet here, be easier to show you. We replace this for this. Just adjust file a little bit. Yeah, so if the way that you can see, we have the same as before. So what we are doing here, we are basically loading that file that from a specific file that's called config.py, and we are setting this like to config from object. We have here a variable called environment configuration, and I get the path to this environment configuration, a path to the file that's called config.py from this variable that I can set up. If you didn't see yet, but one of my videos talk about this most important information that you should know when you are learning Flask. I teach you how that you can set up this environment variables. So it's very important. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go there and take a look. But this is how I can set up for myself. So I will set up in a configuration setup specifying the name of the file, and this will be loaded automatically. So if you saw before, we had to do like app.config and as a dictionary and set up things. So imagine that you have many of these. So it's not good because I'm gonna need to set up many here. Here I just need to set up the environment that I'm using, and they will load accordingly. And how that I can do this is pretty simple, like I have here already. Remember that we are calling, hey, OS, the system, look to the environment, to the key configuration setup and get what the value is there. So I can easily show you here. This how I would set up for myself. So basically I do export this environment, call it configuration setup, and I'm passing like the path and the configuration that I want. The dot format that the file to understand means that I'm calling the class that I want. So the dot format Python understands that I want, hey, look at the configuration file and get me the instances development config. That's I name it like this, can be any name. If you see here, like I'm assuming that the app that I have here, this app file is in the same directory that's config file it is. But of course you can change this. You can specify a path here and we will look to that path. And that's why it's really important to have this way, this format. So anytime that I need to change between one environment or another environment, I just need to come here and export a little bit different. So if I need some testing, I can automatize this, like for my CI environment to set up before testing, export the configuration setup, specify testing configuration. And in this format, it's generic and it's pretty simple that you can have specific keys and environments. You can specify anything that you want. I can create any key that I want here for development. And I can load this from my configuration environment because remember, we are set up here. Basically, it's a dictionary. I haven't shown before. This is just a dictionary. Flask, you understand this file and you translate this to a dictionary at the end. So that's how you set up. I have a post about this on Medium. I'm gonna let the link to this post in the description so you can go there and take a look. This is it. There you can learn more in deep. Like I go through the basic setup, like assume that you don't know anything, and to different formats that you can set up. You have even some keys, other information that is good. Okay, this is it about the configuration. Like it's not that big. It's a kind of a simple subject, but it's very important. Like the way that you organize, the way that you do this setup at the beginning, you don't need to be that fancy. You don't need to use like some libraries because there's libraries that can help you with this. But doing this, like the basic one, for sure, people will see that you understand about the environment and how they should be doing the configuration and so on. I hope that you like it. The next video about URL routing, so hope that you watch it too. If you like, please thumbs up, give me a like and subscribe to the channel, and see you next.